All right, let me open this up. We are good to go. So we are doing a special session today on scripts. I'm going to be giving everybody these downloads. So it's a Word document, and obviously I want you to edit them and make them your own flow, your own conversation, and your own style. But I'm going to be going through a couple scripts that really, really changed and impacted my business. And my challenge with scripts was that they always felt robotic. They always felt kind of like coming from a certain angle and tying people down and objection handling and stuff like that. And I didn't really like it. But there is a time and place for those scripts. So if you do a Google search for real estate scripts, you will find a ton of real estate scripts that are out there on the market. So definitely go out and do that. One of the people are saying that they can't hear me. So Shia, maybe you can talk with her and let her know how. Thanks. So the scripts that I'm going to go through specifically would be the one that I made for reconnecting with my database so that I can connect with my database and not feel like an annoying nuisance. The internet and open house leads, this was the big one. So this was like my magic pill. This was actually how I started doing public speaking. I used to go to offices and I would stand in front of the room and there'd be like 60 people in the room. And I would literally just stand there cold calling internet leads and converting them on speakerphone. And I used the same script over and over and over. And it was really easy. And I don't know, people make it harder than it is. So I'm going to share with you guys what my internet script is. But that internet script work with any source. So it could be an open house. It could be like from one of your Facebook ad. It could be anywhere, right? And this script works. I'm going to be giving you a FSBO script. It's newer than what most people would think. It's not a traditional FSBO script. It's more of going after a FSBO to pick up the buying side. So it's a lot less objection and a lot easier. An investing script to pick up investors and build and grow your database at a super fast rate. And the first-time homebuyer script. So these are the main scripts that I'm going to be covering today. And then I'm going to end off, I think I'm going to end off with a door knocking script as well. So to get started, I want to go over the database script because this is where most of you are going to actually pick it up and use it. So the database script, it really helps with getting around that awkward, annoying feeling. It also helps with updating your database. And because when you use the database script, you're actually getting more information out of people. So you're having a more complete, updated database. And I want to share with you about making a game out of it as well. There we go. Okay, so the script would work like this. I pick up the phone and I call the people in my database. So I'd be like, hey, Laura, it's Danny Wood over at ABC Realty. I wanted to call about real estate in your area, but you can totally relax. I'm not expecting you to be buying a home or selling a home. Did I catch you at a good time? Because I had something interesting about your area. And then she would say yes or no. Usually she would say yes. So I say, okay, great. We have this cool tool showing you all the activity in your immediate area. You'll see the renovations, the home staging, the prices, and property info, allowing you to be a nosy neighbor, keeping a finger on the pulse that matters most to you. Now, if you could guess, how many homes would you think sell in your area every year? And it's okay. You can totally take a wild guess. And I would pause and let her answer. And then she'd say, I don't know, maybe 12. So then I'd repeat the number. I'd be like, 12. Right. So you can agree 12 isn't a lot of emails. So it's not like you're going to be getting spammed very much. This is free and I'm already setting up other people and I'd like to include you. So what's the best email to use? That script right there allows me to reconnect with my database and it's very flowing. It has a purpose. It puts people's guards down because I told them at the beginning, I'm not expecting you to be buying a home or selling a home. It also, they have the fear of missing out because they're missing out on something. And a lot of people tune into that. After she says yeah and she gives me her email, then I have to narrow it down a little bit. So I'd say, okay, great. And to narrow it down, what's the exact address, including postal or zip code? And that gives me more complete, updated information for my database. And then I say, oh, before we go, do you know anyone else who would appreciate this, like someone moving or generally interested in real estate? And so that little strategy helps build with some people would be like, oh yeah, my friend's thinking of moving, or the person down the street, or actually we're thinking of moving. And it created a lot of real estate conversations for me. So what I want you to do is make a game of it. I just posted about exercise yesterday where I had almost a perfect month where I exercised every day for a month. And it didn't start off that way. I made a game of it. So same thing with cold calling and prospecting. You have to make a game of it and try not to go too hard. Like some people will pick up the phone and they'll call 100 people in a day, but you can't maintain that pace, right? So what I want people to do is not track the numbers that they call, but more track the number of days that they call. So if you can do 5 days a week, pick whatever number works with you. I'm going to say 3 to get started. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's whatever your number is. I don't care what that is. I just care that you're consistent with the calling. Go through the contacts on your Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, you can search your friends list and all the people that live in your city. And obviously you would want to reconnect with them, all the contacts that you have saved and added to your cell phone, and obviously everybody that's in your database and your CRM. Your CRM stands for Contact Manager. Now, going forward, you're going to want to start calling these people. You can't just call them once and expect them to like be giving you all their referrals. So on a monthly basis, after you've done this, after you've gone through your whole database and you've got them all set up. Oh, and the tool that I have them set up on, by the way, you all have. It's just I treat these people as if they're a buyer, and I add them as a buyer to my MLS, alerting them to all the homes that hit their neighborhood. So I just list off all the streets in their neighborhood as their criteria, or drop a pin or draw a radius, depending on what MLS you're a part of. So I'm just using a tool that you guys already have. And you set the people up on that, and that creates a real estate related drip. Uh, it's free. You're already paying for it. And it's not annoying, spammy stuff. It's stuff that's actually happening in their neighborhood, so they're a little more interested. Then going forward, what you want to do is start having some sort of monthly event. Maybe to be some simple, you could do it where it's at a local restaurant or a bar or something, and you pay for the appetizers and other people show up and they pay for their food and drink. Do something monthly where you can invite and enroll people to go do that with you. Me personally, I do fun experiential things, whether it be like a Segway tour or a monster truck thing at the Sky Dome, or a running clinic or golfing lessons, just like something experiential. Every season I pick something different, and then that's what I'm enrolling people in and reconnecting with. Because it's not real estate related, it gave me the confidence to pick up the phone and not feel annoying always talking about real estate, but at the same time building that rapport of know you, like you, trust you. So anyways, doing the monthly events really helps out with that. Now, if you are getting internet leads or leads of any sort, you're going to want to pick up on this script. And we're going to be emailing out all these scripts after the call also. Um, it makes for a very easy first phone call. I stack the qualifying questions in a certain order so that you can pull out personal information a little easier, and it doesn't sound, if I just come off the bat and say, hey, you're working with a realtor, people put their guards up and they use it as a shield and all this. But if you stack the questions properly, it just flows so much more natural. So we're going to go over that. And then I'm going to give you my ad call sheet. When I'm calling internet leads, I actually have a piece of paper and I write everything out on the piece of paper. It makes for a much more natural conversation instead of me typing everything into a computer. So I'm going to give you guys my ad call sheet, and I'm going to go over that right now. So the internet script works something like this. So I'd call them up. I'd say, hey, is this Joey? Or hey, is this Samantha? Or whatever their name is. And then they'd say, yeah. And I'd say, hi, my name is Danny Wood over at ABC Realty. And I wanted to call and say thank you so much for taking the time to register, looking at real estate for sale here in Durham region. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that when you're done looking today, you'll notice all the new listings get mixed with the listings that hit the market you've already looked at. And that makes things a little more confusing. Wouldn't it be a benefit if I kept you notified on just the listings that match your criteria? As a buyer agent, you don't pay our fees. So this is totally free service. It's a great way to help you out with the window shopping and information gathering stages. So if you were to move, where would you move to? Oshawa or Whitby? And I put the words in their mouth. So I'm going to put the words of two of the different areas that you service. So I'm going to say, if you were to move, where would you move to? Oshawa or Whitby? And that forces them to correct you. Now, you would agree, and most people would think, holy crap, I have to say all of that in one breath. And I just got really comfortable with it. I mean, it's a lot to say at the very beginning without giving them a chance to say anything. But let me back up and rewind a couple steps. Each paragraph was really, really important. So the first one is me reminding them of the action that they took. So I said, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to register looking at real estate here in Durham. They went onto my website. They didn't go to danwood.com and register a bunch of stuff. They're not going to remember who I am. So I just reminded them of the action that they took. So if it was a Facebook lead, I'd say, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to register on Facebook. Or I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to register on Zillow. Or thank you so much for being at our open house. I'm just reminding them of the action that they took. Then on the next paragraph, I'm going to bring to their attention a common pain point that they're going to experience, and that's that the listings that they're looking at online now are just going to get mixed in with the ones they've already been looking at with the new ones, and it's really confusing. So that's the pain point. And then I follow that up by saying, wouldn't it be a benefit if I kept you notified on just the listings that match your criteria? And obviously it would be a benefit. And I also plug in there that as a buyer agent, you don't pay our fees. So this is a totally free service. It's a great way to help out with the window shopping and information gathering. A lot of people, when I first started calling internet leads, they would use that as a reason for why not to deal with me. They'd be like, oh no, we're just early on. We're just looking. We're just like whatever. And so I put that right into the script because I already knew 80% of the people I talked to, that's what they're going to tell me. So I tell them that this is going to help them out with that. Then I put the words in their mouth. So if you were to move, where would you move to? Oshawa or Whitby? And that forces them, of all the things going on in their head, all the objections, all the rebuttals, all the like whatever they're thinking of, it narrowed it down to two things. Are you going to move here or are you going to move here? And it makes it a lot easier for them to answer, but it answers in a way that it now stacks your future questions because now you can start talking about, oh, well, what price range and how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? So I would start getting all their criteria. Now, on their criteria, I would use this piece of paper. I'm going to give this to all of you. It's my ad call sheet. Now, I want to caution on this one. Yeah, I know you should be in a database when you're calling your database, and you should be at a computer when you're calling your internet leads, but you're not. Sometimes you're in a car, sometimes you're at an open house, sometimes you're at the office doing whatever you're doing, and you're not actually plugged in and logged into your system. So I'm not telling you not to use a CRM or a database. I'm just saying use this piece of paper for the first phone call. That way you can like scratch out all their information quickly. Okay, so this piece of paper that I'm going to give you, let's zoom into the top one. This is where I put their name, their phone number, their email, their address, the source of where the business came from. Was it an open house? Was it a referral? Was it a sign call, a newspaper ad, whatever? Up at the very top is ID number. So the very first person I called, ID number 1. The second person, ID number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it really just represented page 1, page 2, page 3, because I put them all into a binder in order. That way I could pull them out at a future date when I needed. So put an ID on them. Underneath that is where you put all your random notes. So like they're having a baby, they're moving from another city, and these are the MLS numbers that they're looking at. So if they have any of that random information, you've got a space to jot it down. Here's where I put all the areas that I serve. So because I'm giving you this as a Word document, this means that you can edit it. So I have the words east, west, north, south, and all of city. So when I actually use this, it would have said Oshawa, Whitby, Pickering, Ajax, Brooklyn, Bowmanville, all of Durham. And so, I mean, that sounds like a very large, wide area, and it kind of is. But it's still within like a half hour of each other. So it's not that far. And so if I was to have the word Bowmanville or Mississauga as one of the areas that I serve, can you imagine me writing that out on a piece of paper? It takes up like every letter in the alphabet. So why not just scratch it off? Like, oh, Bowmanville, tick, tick and done. And I can move. It's way more conversational and flowing. So I'm like, oh, you want to move to all of Durham region. You want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. You want a townhouse under 450 and you need a garage, blah, blah, blah. So I'll write out the variables, but most of the common stuff is already there. So it's just like tick, 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 tick. Once I have all the criteria, I'll repeat the criteria to the person. And then that rolls into my qualifying questions. So then I'll say, so if you were to move, when would you like to move by? And the person will say, oh, we want to move by the spring, the summer, the fall, or whatever. And they all say whatever they say. So then I'll repeat that. So I'll say, okay, so if you wanted to move by the spring, when would it make sense for you to get in a car and start looking? And what I'm doing is I'm peeling the onion layer back one more layer, and it's sharing with me a more appropriate timing for how I should be following up, because it's more important to know when they want to get into a car and start looking than it is when they want to buy, because you got to get in the car first. So you want to find that question out. So I'll ask that question again. I'll say, so if you wanted to move by the spring, when would it make sense to get in the car and start looking? And then they'll tell me whatever they tell me. So I'll jot that down. And that rolls into my next question. And I say, well, when that time comes, do you have a realtor you'll be working with? Yes or no? And so if I was to just come right out on the phone call and ask that question, it kind of would put people's guards up. But because I asked it of when you want to move, when would it make sense to get in a car and start looking? Well, when that time comes, do you have a realtor you'll be working with? It's way more flowing. Do you already own a home? Yes or no? Do you have to rent? Yes or no? Have you talked to a lender about financing? Yes or no? So these are all qualifying questions that you should ask on every person that you work with. If they are selling, the first question I ask them, well, was it ever listed on the MLS? Like when you bought it, was it on the MLS? And if they say yes, I just saved 5 minutes of time because I've got the price, I've got the all the stats about the property, all the information about the property. I just have to ask them, is there anything that you've done since you purchased it that would increase or decrease the value? And a lot of that opens up a can of worms, because either they did a ton of work or the husband did something really stupid and the wife has a lot to say about it. And it's really funny. What price were you thinking? So I just pre-print $1 billion because they all think it's worth that. Okay, tell me about your house. Is it a detached, 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, no garage, basement, unfinished, new roof and windows? What's the address? So I have a space to get all of this information. Down at the very bottom of the piece of paper is my contact log, where I have the date, the time, the action, and any notes about that call. That way, in the future, when I go to call this person again, I can pick up where we last left off, right? So I'll take all that information. Sometimes at the end of the phone call, I really would crumple up the piece of paper and throw it in the garbage. I'm like, well, that's not a good one. But some of them were good. And if they were good, I would put the page number, the ID number up at the top. So I would put those papers in a binder at the dollar store. I picked up a binder and I'm like, page 1, page 2, page 3. On the left side of the binder was a blank grid of the year, a calendar. So I'll zoom in. So this one's ID number 30, right? So on ID number 30, apparently, let's just say this guy wanted me to give him a call in a couple weeks, and I was in March. So then on April 3rd or whatever, I would know, oh, I have to pull page 30. I have to pull page 25, 27, 13, 4, and 1. So this allowed me to keep not dropping people in the cracks. And like, so say on April 3rd, I'd call page 30 and the guy's like, oh yeah, no, we're not ready. We thought we would be, we'll probably go in like a month or whatever. Well then, okay, so it's April 3rd. So on May 3rd, I would write page 30 and then I would put this piece of paper back in order. Eventually, the people would graduate out of my database. So I really did use a database. I ended up just taking a picture of this piece of paper and then emailing it to my admin, and the admin would set them up on a CRM, would do the drip plan, set up the buyer alert, and do the CMA. So I still use the database, but the first phone call, I definitely used a piece of paper. Now, for sale by owners, this for sale by owner gave me a fresh list every week. And so every week I had a fresh list of people that I knew were going to be buying a home or selling a home. They're definitely selling a home because they're for sale by owner. It's an easy approach with little confrontation on script. So the for sale by owner and a lot of objection handling, but not with this script. So this script is way easier. So I call up the for sale by owner. I say, hey, I noticed you have a home for sale on Craigslist. Is it still available? And I would replace Craigslist with wherever I found the for sale by owner's phone. So I'd say, hey, I noticed you had a home for sale on Craigslist. Is it still available? Pause and let them answer. And then I'll say, I'm a real estate agent, but unlike all the other real estate agents calling to get the listing, I'm actually calling to see if I could help with the buying end. See, as a buyer agent, you don't pay my fees, and I wanted to help with the window shopping. It's easy. Now, if you were to move, where would you move to? Oshawa or Whitby? And they'll tell me whatever they tell me. And then I'll say, well, wouldn't it make sense to get set up on a daily email alert so you don't miss out? That was it. That one script. And then obviously, depending on how they answered the question, you would then move over and do the ad call sheet where you're doing the qualifying questions and getting all their buyer criteria and that sort of thing. It's so easy. Like, let all the other agents go after the listing. It's an 80% chance that if a person is selling their home as a FSBO, they're going to be wanting to buy another home. I mean, unless this is a FSBO investor and they've got multiple properties, but they're always going to need a roof over their head. And so go after them on the buying side first. I mean, the main reason they don't want to work with a real estate agent is because they don't want to pay the commission. Well, on the buying side, they don't pay, right? And so it starts the conversation, it starts the relationship, and then eventually you can go after them for the listing end if you feel comfortable and confident on that. But I would start off with going after the buying end first because it's just a lot easier of a conversation. And so the plan would be to call 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day, or 5 a day, 5 a day, 5 a day. Whatever your number is, just be consistent with the number of days, right? The same approach works with landlords and investors. So I like working with landlords and investors because it doubles the size of your database. For every one investor in your database, you have two houses, the one they live in and the one that they've invested in. Hold on one second. I have a really bad cold. I don't know if it's going to come through in my scripts or not, but probably. And I'm sorry. So working with landlords and investors will double the size of your database easily. When I first started in the business, I started working with investors right away, like the first month I was in the business. And all the other agents were like, oh, no, they don't have any loyalty. Like, you don't want to work with investors. And I was like, perfect. They don't have any loyalty. There's a good chance they'll work with me then, right? So I just had to out follow up anyone else. Obviously, if they were under contract, I'm not talking about that, but I'm just talking about investors tend to just go with the best deal, and that's fine with me as long as I can find them that deal. And also working with landlords and investors leads to bigger fish. In my very first year, a couple of the investors I picked up, the one guy wanted to list 18 or 19 of his properties. Another guy had 16 of his own. There was some commercial stuff that popped up, like really big commission checks just by focusing on investors. So this is a script that I would use. I would find these investors by going onto the classified websites and going to the rental section because they're advertising that their home is for rent. So I'll call them up and say, hey, I noticed you have a home for rent on Craigslist. Is it still available? And then I would pause and let them answer. I'm a real estate agent and I realize you're already marketing your home for rent. But would you be open to me bringing offers for sale? Have you ever considered selling? We can also help with the rental side too if needed. And then I would pause and repeat their answer. So if they're planning on keeping the home and they don't need any help, they're like, no, I'm a landlord. I love what I do. I got my coffee in my hand. I'm on my way to another property now. well, then I would say, hey, since this is working out so well for you, have you ever considered getting another one in the future? I have a list of investment properties I could send you. And do you know anyone else interested in investing in real estate? So what I would do is I had a daily list that daily and weekly list of all the duplexes, triplexes, and fix and flips that would go out, getting in tune with that. If they do want help, so they're like, oh yeah, because a lot of landlords didn't want to be a landlord anymore, and they love the idea. So I'm like, yeah, I can cast a larger net. We can put it on the market for rent. I can put it on the market for sale. If you don't like any of the offers that I bring you, obviously you don't have to take them, but at least I could bring you more options. And it got the ball rolling on the conversation of like, well, what would it be worth? And okay, well, tell me about your property. And so, I mean, I could literally start brand new as an agent in any city in North America and use this game plan and have business within a month. It's a guarantee. And so I would call the rental sections of the classifieds with those scripts and make a game of it, 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day. And if you do that 5 days a week for a month, reward yourself. I mean, you're already going to get rewarded because you got business out of it. But anyways, treat your family or friends to something fun. The same approach worked with first-time buyers and tenants. So it was easy database building exercise for this game plan. I looked at it like future referral sources. So we actually got future business out of these tenants and first-time buyers, even though a lot of the first-time buyers didn't end up buying. They still knew other people that were. And it was a really easy call for me to make. So I would find these people on, again, the rental section of the classifieds, only they would be posting that they're looking for a home. So people go onto Craigslist or whatever your classified is in your area, and they'll go to the rental section and say, we're looking for a 3-bedroom home under this price range. And they like tell you all this information. So then I would call them up and say, hey, I noticed you posted on Craigslist looking to rent a home. Are you still looking? Pause and let them answer. I say, well, hey, I'm a real estate agent and we have a fresh list of rentals on the market you might have missed. Can I send you an updated list? Pause and let them answer. And they're going to be like, like anybody I got on the phone that was looking at renting and they heard that, they're like, yeah, sure. Send me the updated list. So I'd obviously have to get their email and all that information. And then I would follow that up by saying, have you ever considered buying a home? We have options that you can own that would carry for the same as what you're paying these rents. Why are you leaning towards renting anyways? And I kind of question them on it. And sometimes like their ego will puff up or whatever. And a natural conversation will start to transpire. And they'll tell me like, well, we do want to buy a home. We're thinking of buying next year. We're just renting this year because of such and such. And now I've got a real conversation with a real person. I add them to my database. And the fact that we had, I would call the people on Craigslist that were looking for a home for rent that was, say, $2,000 a month. Then I would show them a list of homes that you could own for $2,000 a month as a mortgage payment. So I'd be like, look at these. It's basically like you're paying rent, only you're paying rent to the bank. And why don't I connect you with my mortgage broker? They can help you out with understanding as a first-time home buyer how it's a possibility and like how 100% financing works and all these other things that you may be blind to that you don't know. It's a free conversation. Would it be okay if I had them call you? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. And so what you want to do with this game plan is call the rental sections for the people that are looking to rent. I would actually email them a list of all the rentals on the MLS because every MLS has rentals. So I would just email them everything on that. And then I would have a mortgage partner and programs that I could put them in tune with. So we did have a rent-to-own program that we could connect people with. I had a mortgage partner that I connected people with. So have allies that you could feed business to, but you add these people to your database because they're going to be buying a home next year. And if you could help them now with the planning stages, it just guarantees that you're going to have business next year. So I'm going to end off on the door knocking script. This one thing uh, generated more appointments than anything else that I've done. And I mean, internet leads aside. So as far as prospecting goes, door knocking definitely killed it for me. And for every 1 hour that I door knock, I would get 2 appointments. And that was an average, sometimes more, sometimes less. But 2 appointments for every hour was awesome. If I door knocked for 2 hours, I had 4 appointments. And I mean like 4 real appointments, like 4 people that are thinking of buying a home, selling a home, and we would set a listing appointment up type of thing. So I would get 2 appointments per hour with this script. It was really easy. I ended up purchasing 2 homes privately by doing this approach. And it was really fun and easy. I just was like not stuck behind a computer. I was outside in fresh air having conversations with real people. So this is the deal. I would write out on a piece of paper let me go back. I would write out on a piece of paper the story of who my buyers are. So why they want in that area, a picture of the buyers, and a picture of the map of the area that I was door knocking. And if I door knocked, say I door knocked 5 different streets that day, I would have 5 different stacks of paper, and each one had a different map. Because when they look at the piece of paper, they tune into what's in it for them, and they're going to recognize their map first or their area. So you're like, oh, what's this all about? So that's on the piece of paper. That's what I have in my hands. So I knock on the door, and as soon as they open the door, I take a step back. And that shows that I'm creating breathing room. It makes people more comfortable at the door. If you're standing right in their face, they're like, oh, they want to close the door as quickly as possible. So knock on the door, wait for them to open, and then show them that you took a step back. So take a step back. And then I'll say, hi, I'm not expecting you to be selling a home, but we really want it in this area. And then I pull out the piece of paper and I'm tapping on it. I'm like, tap, tap, tap. So they look down at the map and now I can see that they're looking at the map. So I grab my hands and I sandwich the piece of paper. I'm like, oh, no, no, this is for you to keep. So let me move, hold on. I got to switch scripts. So I clap the piece of paper. I'm like, no, no, this is for you to keep in case you think of someone after I go. Can you just point me off in the right direction? Do you know anyone in this area who's thinking of moving? I'm the agent for the buyers and I'm being really proactive. And most people can't think of anybody. So they're like, oh, no, I don't know anybody who's thinking of moving. So then I say, it's okay if you can't think of anybody. I appreciate you anyways. Oh, if you're interested, we have this thing called the nosy neighbor alert. And then I would shift gears and go into the setting them up with that nosy neighbor alert script that we did for our database at the very beginning of this call. And what that did was it allowed me to get people's information at the door. And so I printed up, uh, at Staples or any business center, they have print your own business cards. Well, I printed my own business cards and it had name with a line, phone number, line, email, line, address, line. And that's all that was printed on the business card. And I would hand them that card and have them fill in their information. And then what I liked about it was I wasn't carrying around a big floppy clipboard. They don't feel like they're signing a contract. When they give it to me, it fits back in my pocket easily. And it was an awesome way for me to build and grow my database. And a lot of people actually knew other people that are moving on the street. They're like, oh yeah, go talk to Joey down the corner. They're going to be moving at the end of the year or whatever. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. High five. And I never once had a bad negative experience with door knocking. I got immediate business, immediate listings, 2 homes purchased myself privately. And it's hands down, this is another one that if I was to move to any city anywhere in North America, I'd be door knocking. You have to have a buyer though. That's the one trick. It's not a trick. It's a caveat. If you don't have a buyer, don't make it up. That's just terrible. But if you do have a buyer, you have all the confidence in the world to go out and have a conversation with anybody about anything because you know what your buyers want. They want this type of home. They want it in this area because of these reasons. And it's like, how can you be uncomfortable having those conversations? So that's my game plan for door knocking. Print a letter about your buyer, show it to your buyer and make sure they're okay with it, get them to sign off on it. Have a map of each street printed on the letter that you're door knocking with. So if you door knock 3 different streets, I want you to have 3 different stacks of paper, one of each street. And then for most of the people at the door that can't think of anybody who's thinking of moving in the area, use the database script that we started off with and build and grow your CRM. So those are the scripts. I am going to be putting them on the website on brokeragenation.com/real estate scripts because I have to use it for some other purposes. But all of you guys that are on this live call right now, you're in the group coaching program. It's going to be in the group coaching members area, and you'll get all of the downloads as well. So there you go. That is today's session on scripts. Any questions? Hold on one second. Type out your question. I'll be right back. Oh, I did really good. I had to blow my nose that whole webinar. That was a very, very challenging session for me. Where did I say you can get the script? Well, here, I'll upload it right now to this group, this chat window. I think I can do that. Yep, I can do it. I'm going to upload it right now to this chat session. Script. Okay, it's uploading right now, but it's going to be in the group coaching session where the recording of this gets put up on Monday, this upcoming Monday, and then all the downloads will be there as well. Hey, thank you for thanking me for doing it while I was sick. Appreciate that. If I don't have a buyer, how do you alter the door knocking script? Somebody in your office will. That's one way of doing it. I stumbled on the idea because I personally wanted to buy a home. That it was like 6 years ago. I wanted the home to be under 200,000 because I wanted to buy it and keep it as a rental property, and I wanted it to cash flow. And there just was nothing on the market. And I went door knocking, and I bought two with that strategy. I'm like, holy crap, this actually works. So then I started doing it for our actual buyers. Do you have a script for door knocking in your farm area? The only script for door knocking is that one that I used that I just uploaded. But I would only do that if I had a buyer in that area. The other thing for your farm area is you could do the door knocking based on the database script to get people set up on the nosy neighbor alert. Nice. There's a lot of chatter here. This is the most conversation I've had you guys ever have. Normally I just talk and it's a ghost town. I really appreciate you guys interacting with me. Didn't understand the nosy neighbor. Can you explain? I can. So let me go. I'll just go back. It's quicker if I do this. Nosy neighbor. It's this one. So I call my database or your farm area. So if I was door knocking, I'd let the people know this, or in this example, I'm calling. So I say, hey, Laura, it's Danny Wood over at ABC Realty. I wanted to call about real estate in your area, but you can totally relax. I'm not expecting you to buy or sell a home. Did I catch you at a good time? Because I had something interesting about your area. And then I would pause and let her answer. And then I'd say, okay, great. We have this cool tool showing you all of the activity in your immediate area. You'll see the renovations, the home staging, the prices, the property info, allowing you to be a nosy neighbor, keeping a finger on the pulse of the market that matters most to you. Now, if you could guess, how many homes would you think sell in your area every year? And it's okay, take a wild guess. And then I would pause and let her answer, and she'll say 3 or 6 or 8 or 12 or whatever the number is. So that I'll repeat that number and say, okay, 12. So you can agree 12 isn't a lot of emails, so it's not like you're going to be getting spammed. This is free, and I'm already setting other people up. I'd like to include you. So what's the best email to use? And I'll get her email. And then I'll be like, okay, great. Now to narrow down the area, what's the exact address, including postal code or zip code, depending where you are? And then she would tell me that information. And then I would ask for the referral. Now, what I'm setting her up on is you would log into your MLS and you would set them up as a buyer, and their buying criteria is anything in that neighborhood. So you would either list off the streets, or you would do a pin around their house, or however you would do it. Each MLS is a little bit different. And what will happen going forward is whenever there's a new listing in that area, it will email them. So it allows them to keep an update and an eye on what's happening in the area. So now whenever there is a for sale sign go up or a sold sign go up, the agent they're going to think of is you, because you're the one who's actually connecting them and keeping them in the loop. Hopefully that made sense. Cool. Well, guys, we're done. You guys, a lot of you are still hanging out, which is cool. I want to put this recording up on Monday, and we'll set a new date and time. Thank you. Thank you. Can I get a copy of this copy of the presentation? You get the recording and the Word document, but not the PowerPoint. You're welcome, guys. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Where can I get the data sheet? Well, it's already uploaded in this chat window. So scroll up and let me know that you downloaded it before I hang up. I hope I feel better too. I got to catch a flight to Florida. I'm afraid of the pressure in my ears. Did you guys hear the motorcycle? By the way, there's a motorcycle like ripping and revving for 5 minutes on our call. Sophie, did you get the download before I hang up? No motorcycle. Okay, good. Did you scroll up? I'll just re-upload it. Hold on. Yeah, the script. Oh, that's wait, what were you asking for then? Hold on. I thought you wanted where can I get the data sheet? What do you mean data sheet? I'm sorry, I thought you wanted the scripts. Oh, okay, right. Well, I'll just upload it for you right here as well. So uh, I'm pulling it up for you right now. Don't leave. Okay, it's uploading. All right, there we go. Uploaded. Oh, Shihab, if you're still here, you can download that script thing. I don't think I sent that to you yet. Got it. Cool, man. You're awesome. Sorry, first time coming. No worries. Yeah, so this is your first time here. So what happens is we do these calls live on a Thursday. It gives us time on the weekend to edit and do whatever we have to do. On the Monday evening, so this upcoming Monday, we're going to upload the video. And when the video gets uploaded in the group coaching program, when you log in, you either have access through your brokerage or through Patreon, or there's different ways that you can have access. So you'll know, you log in and then all the downloads and past videos are archived. Got it. I don't think I missed any questions. Hopefully not. A lot of people saying thank you, thank you. This is awesome. Got it. Okay. Well, I think we're done here. Everyone, you guys rock. I want to hang up, and I appreciate all of you. See ya.
Hey, if you want to close more real estate transactions, get more buyer leads, and get more seller leads, click this button right here. It'll take you to our real estate group coaching page. Also, if you like this video and want more, you can subscribe by pressing this, or you can check out some of my past videos here. Enjoy!